Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back with another BKFC Reddit Ask Me Anything. We're joined by the Joyboy himself, Justin Ibarrola. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. I'm excited to be doing one of these. I've been watching your page for a while now, and I'm like, when's it gonna be my turn?
The one thing that I like about it, like a lot of fighters reach out to me, so like I think it's so much easier to interview somebody who reaches out to me. I've reached out to several people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll get it," and I never hear back from them. You were somebody I met, so I definitely wanted to talk to you, but I wanted to talk to you with like going into a big fight. And then when I heard Dave Feldman the other day say, with a big win, you could potentially be chasing a title after this. Like I was like, we got to get Justin on.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Where where did you get the nickname Joy Boy?
So, really, it's from an anime called One Piece. It's getting very popular right now. But I just resonate with the character, and I resonate with the name itself. I just feel like it fits my persona. So, I mean, it caught on pretty quickly with a lot of people. So I'm sticking with that.
Did you have a nickname prior to that? Or I thought it was because you're always smiling, you're always happy. You were one of the guys that seems like you never have a bad day. So that's what I thought it was from.
That's why I'm saying it. I resonate with the name. That's why I had to stick with it. It literally like defines like the type of person that I am. So that's why I decided to just stick with Joyboy. I didn't really have a real nickname besides Chubby. That was my amateur nickname, Chubby, because I was always eating food in the gym.
Okay, so like you the other day I saw it said that you cut down from about 160 to 135, which is insane, I think. But is that a pretty easy cut for you? Does it take much to get down to that, or it's pretty?
Yeah, man. Like I said, my nickname used to be Chubby, so it's not that I'm too big for the weight class. I just like to eat freaking food, and there's when I'm off camp, there's a lot of fat that I can burn off. So I really am like the perfect, I would say the perfect 135 like size. Could I go up to 145? Absolutely. My first professional boxing fight was at 147. Like I just feel comfortable right in the middle between 135 and 145, so I could go up or down, honestly.
When I met you at the first Hollywood card of the year, that's the one thing I noticed about you. You were like towering over. I saw some of the other 35ers there, and you are so much bigger than these guys. I feel like you're going to be a very dominant force going forward. Have you always like been bigger in your weight class? I mean, like, did you wrestle or anything, or like?
I okay. Well, I was always the small guy in the gym,
Okay,
which is funny because I'm looking at these 135 guys and I'm like, wow, you guys are a lot smaller than I thought, or when I saw your fight on the BKFC app, like you guys look a lot more bigger on screen, you know. So this is the first time that I feel like the bigger guy.
yeah,
Um, and I did used to wrestle. That's actually grappling's my background.
okay.
Actually, I've grappled up until I was 19 when I made that transition to boxing. So, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so a 135er sent in a question to ask you. I don't know if you guys are cool or not, but he said he really respects you. But he said, "What's it like knowing you're the second hardest hitter at 135?" And that's coming from Papa G, Michael Larimore himself.
That guy came out of nowhere. That's funny. That guy came out of nowhere and started like I don't know if he DM'd me or if it was all just in like Instagram comments, but like um he shows his respect. He's like he knows what I'm about, I think he's
Sure,
pretty aware. I think in his head a matchup between the two of us would look good on paper or look good to the crowd. So I
sure.
think that's why he might be fetching for the fight. Um I mean, I'm all about patience, and I would just suggest that he stays a little more patient and just wait for his opportunity because things could change really quick in this sport.
Okay, so another thing, when we were in Florida, I was talking to you at the post fight, and you were up there, and you were really going hard trying to get your fight against Ryan Reber. It seems like you really want somebody in the top five. Are you asking for somebody in the top five? They just haven't given them to you yet. Like, what's the deal with that?
Yeah, man, I have. I mean, I literally have been like when they first announced the Alberto Blas versus Reber fight. I was
Yeah,
like, I was like, listen, if Reaver wins, like, I want to fight him on the next Hollywood card.
for sure.
Like we could like. I was surprised that they're even a main event fight. Honestly, that kind of shocked me because I don't see them as a big draw. Um, but I see me and Ryan Reaver being a big draw. Like it's all about, you know, I'm a businessman, not just a fighter. So, like, I have suggestions for the BKFC
Sure,
that I keep to myself that I think would just really draw attention. But me and Ryan Reaver are one of them. Like, I obviously sell a big crowd. Ryan Reaver has his, he's undefeated with six
sure,
fights. I'm right behind him. I mean, it just looks good in my opinion. He's not the only one I'm looking to fight. Obviously, I'll fight Bloss.
sure.
Um, I'll fight anyone in the top five. I've been looking to fight anyone in the top five. I've been looking to fight anyone in the top five before the top five changed.
Okay.
So um, but as of now, honestly, it doesn't really matter to me who I fight. Like I said, I'm patient. Um, I'm really interested in just continuing to showcase like what I can do, continuing to showcase that I'm out of these guys' leagues, and just prove to the crowd that you know I'm the face of the BKFC.
Your strength and conditioning coach is a very intimidating looking person in the corner. Like it's like one of those things. Like holy shit, you don't want to make them upset. How long have you been training? What's her name exactly? Is it
Anne-Marie,
Anne
Anne-Marie,
Marie?
yeah,
Yeah, she's a spooky looking lady. I
she's
like I
a
said,
she's a three-time world champion. I don't know if you knew that.
I was looking at her Instagram. Yeah, I saw that she's a Hall of Famer and everything.
Oh, she's a freaking animal. When it comes to like me, the reason why we work so well together is because just our mentalities. Like we just have, she keeps me in check on my mentality. We like have very similar mindsets. It's a very cordial relationship. Like whatever she said, there's not a lot of bickering between us. It's like
Cool.
she says something, I'm like, fuck, I get that. You're right. Like let's lock in. And she keeps me in check, dude. She's freaking amazing, honestly. Like one of my favorite coaches ever. Like I've been working with her for like a year and a half now. Ever since after my first bare knuckle fight, I started working with her.
Well, your face tells a difference. Like like you don't look nearly as beat up. Like she's putting in work.
My whole body, man. I'm bigger now and more defined now, and it's actually easier for me to make weight compared to my first fight.
Okay. Okay, so I asked your current manager. I said, "Hey, give me something funny to ask Joyboy," and he said he's got nothing because literally every time you're with him, all you do is hard work. But you're such a nice person, and it's been such a pleasure to work with you. That's what he told me.
There's this like common misconception that fighters just have to be assholes, and I want to change that.
Yeah,
I want to bring a new like era of fighters into fighting. Like I'm sick of like everyone trying to put on this tough act because the fact of the matter is like everyone's just as nervous, everyone's just as like concerned. Um, like even the tough guys have may have even more nerves than the nicer looking dudes. That's why they use the tough act to hide it, right?
sure.
So I mean, I just want to change it, man. Like fighting doesn't have to be a scary sport. It doesn't have to be a scary sport. It can be. It's entertainment. Like we're doing something for the people by entertaining them.
How do you feel about like the fake animosity, the bad blood? It's so weird when you see two guys. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna do this, and then after the fight, they're so buddy buddy. I'm not big on that. I feel like you're gonna fight anyway, so like just I feel like they'd be better off doing it themselves. But like, there's plenty of guys that are like, "Oh my god, did you see how mad they are at each other?" It definitely sells a fight, but I feel like it's kind of pointless.
Yeah. For me, like you guys haven't seen that for me. Like
No,
for me, it has to be with the right person because I'm not. This is how I explain it to people. It's like fighting with your little brother, and it's like you're always gonna, or fighting with your best friends. Like you're always gonna, you know, talk shit to each other, and like and just laugh about it, right?
Sure.
So like that's the approach that I take. Like if you ever do see me get aggressive with someone or like start talking mad shit or in the face off, like we're roughhousing or whatever. It's honestly it's all just a joke to me. It's all just humor to me. It's like I just have fun with it. I'm never at like I'm not an angry person. I don't get angry. Like I don't get easily angered, I should say.
Well, and you don't they don't call you the Joy Boy for nothing. You know what I mean? Like you're not that. You could be a little Tito though. I see a lot of Tito Ortiz in your face. You know what I mean?
That's funny. That's I've never heard that, but
Like looking now, I was like, am I interviewing Tito Ortiz? No.
you're
So,
basically telling me I have a fat head
well, no. I mean,
because that guy's head's huge,
that
man.
guy's head is. I love when I love when people are like, look how tiny my head looks compared to Tito. So I was curious about your last name, so I looked it up and I found like it's from South America, but there's also a lot of Ibarrolas in Spain, and I was like, oh, if he would have been from the Spain one, they should have got you on the card out there. I was curious where your people are from.
So I'm gonna stop myself right there because I don't want to leak anything. So,
Okay, okay,
but I do. So I did an ancestry, and
okay,
I'm actually Puerto Rican. My father's Puerto Rican.
okay.
Um, Turns out when I did my ancestry, Spain is above my Puerto Rican bloodline.
Nice.
And I'm also Filipino, and Philippines, the Filipino ethnicity and the Puerto Rican ethnicity and the Spain ethnicity, it's like this big triangle. Like
Okay.
they actually all have a little bit. Like Filipinos and Puerto Ricans have a Spain bloodline, which kind of makes sense because based on my ancestry. I got really deep into it one time. I was like, who, like, what am I? Who am I? I'm freaking. My mom's Korean, Filipino. My dad's Puerto Rican. I didn't know what the fuck to go with. Like, I would every time I met someone or introduced myself to someone, I kind of just had this rotation. I would be like, oh, this guy, I'd be like, I'm Filipino. To this guy, I'd be like, I'm Korean. To this guy, I'd be like, but I would just rotate the three because I didn't know.
I see why they call you chubby though. Those are some three areas that have fantastic food. Like, you know what I mean?
Love to eat, man. Love to eat. Koreans, man, the rice and all the meat. Filipinos, man. Filipinos literally, like, I grew up eating with my hands because my
Okay.
grandfather's Filipino. Like, that's what my grandfather's Filipino. My grandmother is Korean, so we would eat with our hands a ton, like as a kid.
Mhm.
And I mean, Hispanics, we eat a ton. Like, I got the worst of both right now. That's that's why I get chubby between these fights.
Okay, so your last time you came out very patriotic. You always do cool stuff with your hair. I know you can't leak it, but it sounds like you're gonna have a pretty sweet walkout for this time.
I think I might have leaked it already. Like if you don't know what's about to happen, then
I,
I don't know.
I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to put it out there. You know what I mean? So like I won't pull the clip or anything. Like I'm gonna let you surprise people. But like
I'll give
I
you
have an idea.
I'll give you guys a hint for the people who don't have an idea at all because I think you do know. But let's just say I'm bringing the nightmare to the nightmare.
I saw that like like a Freddy Krueger thing and like yeah I mean there's some cool aspect. I saw you have some like a new clothing line coming out. Can you tell us about being a personal trainer? Like it seems like you do like the personal trainer, but I feel like I see you working a lot with kids and stuff too, right?
Yeah, so that's my honestly that's a without getting too deep, that's one of the main reasons why I'm such a showman. And why I fight and I'm so passionate about it is because I just want to show these kids that like no matter where like what background you come from, no matter what you go through, like you can be a fucking like champion. And like I didn't grow up in the best with the best circumstances. I grew up poor, like
Sure.
so I had a lot of bumpy roads, and to just show people the joy that I bring in the ring and just looking like the superstar, and then also relating to these kids like I just want to give the people more hope about actually doing something with themselves.
Okay, if it's a sore subject, I don't want to talk about it. But like you posted something and it said like, "How can you bring me down? I've been a loser." Like something loserish, and like it kind of was like, "Holy shit!" That like it felt deep. Is that something you could expand on, or like?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Go
I
ahead,
mean,
please.
like, yeah, I mean, so the caption was, "How can you beat someone who grew up a loser?" And
There you go.
I mean, just like I said, like I didn't have the, you know, I had a lot of bumpy roads in my life, as a kid growing up in like as a teenager and everything. So, I didn't have the best opportunities. I wasn't around the best environment. So I mean, I've taken L's my whole life. So when I said that, it really means like, how can you beat someone who's so comfortable with losing, right? A lot of people that lose
Sure,
are the people that have a fear of losing, and I just don't have a fear of losing. I've just been through so many rough patches, and I've been beaten the fuck up in the ring already by so many fucking people the last ever since I started. It's like I tell people this all the time is when I'm training and when I'm in fight camp, that's where I want to take my losses. That's where I want to get beaten down. That's
sure.
where I want to struggle. And I do. I do, but as you can see, all that struggle and losses brings out the confidence in the ring under the lights in front of all those people because in my head I'm like nothing can beat me down at this point.
Okay, when I saw you fight in February, it was one of those things where if you blinked, you missed your fight. This last fight went a couple rounds. Were you? Did you intentionally make it go a couple extra rounds just to get a little bit of work? Was that because I feel like it was one of those things like had you really put it on the pressure, you probably would have been able to finish it. Were
Mm-hmm.
you working on stuff, or was that the game plan the whole time? Or
So I wanted to show people that if I want to just have fun and bounce around that ring for 5 rounds and just get an easy payday, I can. I could do
okay,
whatever I want in the ring. So
sure,
that's kind of what I wanted to show people. I wanted to show people, hey, if it goes 1 round, 2 round, 3 rounds, it's cake to me. It's cake to me, and if I want to put him down, I'll put him down. So that's what I showed him. I gave him a round to kind of just dance around, and it wasn't just that. I was reading my opponent. I mean, credit to Rick Caruso. He's long, he's lengthy. I didn't want to take too many risks,
sure,
just jumping in. So um, yeah, like I'm a risk-free fighter. Like you're not gonna ever see me go in there and brawl balls to the walls. I'm always gonna go look for the setup. I'm always gonna, frustrate you and get you to miss. I'm a tactical fighter, so um, like I said, if every fight in my life goes 5 rounds, I'm comfortable with it. So I just wanted to show people that like it's not about going in there and seeing who lands the biggest punch.
okay. Your next opponent, Street, he had a pretty good first showing. I feel like this is probably going to be your toughest test to date. Do you feel it's going to be your toughest test to date? Like, is there anything that he showed that like worries you? Nothing.
No, I tell people this all the time. Again, there's no opponent that's tougher than the first guy that I fought.
Okay.
You know, regardless of his losses, right? I fought a guy who was 0-2 or 0-3 in bare knuckle for my first fight. Um, you know, I had a bigger skill set than the guy, but no one is as tough as that dude. I punched that dude harder than I punched Rick Caruso and harder than I punched Landon Williams, and
Okay.
that guy ate that shit, kept coming forward, and I'm like, it really like broke down like my confidence. And when you have a guy who just keeps walking you down after getting hit so many times, it gasses you out. So like, forget, you know, I'm not worried about fighting a skilled fighter. I'm worried about fighting the guy who's gonna get cracked in the jaw, break his hand, whatever, and still come forward with 100%.
Sure.
I'm more worried to fight the guys that have a bigger will to continue the fight. So like when we talk about guys like Ryan Reber, Alberto Blas, the guys in the top five, I don't think any of them have a bigger will than I do, and I don't think anyone have a bigger will than Gilberto Aguilar, the first guy that I fought. Like I feel like those guys when they really see, the pressure and they really get hit and they realize they're not as indestructible as they think they are, because I've been hit. I've been hit
Sure.
fucking hard. I know how indestructible I am. I get hit by guys that are 180 pounds. I get rocked by guys that are 180 pounds. I eat this shit. Like, you're not gonna fucking, no one and I'm just gonna make this statement right now: no one's ever gonna knock me the fuck out. And if you plan on betting on that, just you know start applying for some loans because you're gonna lose your money.
You don't want to parlay that one, is what you're saying.
Yeah, not at all. I'm the toughest guy in the fucking BKFC. You got yeah. I mean, you're not going to. I'm too skilled. I'm too cautious. I'm too skilled. I'm smart. Like I can take a freaking punch. I train with guys who are 10 times better than the guys that I will ever face in BKFC. I've trained with high level professional boxers who've been on the big stage, who've been in the highest level of competition. Like I'm not just out here training to train.
Sure.
I have intention in everything that I do. And that's what sets me apart from the other fighters. And they're not going to realize it till they get in the ring with me because they're so caught up on being the tougher guy, right? They're going to get a rude awakening when they step in the ring with me. That's why I'm patient. I have nothing to rush right now.
Sure. And you're young, right? So I mean, there is no reason to rush. Like it's not like you're one of these guys that's coming in at 40 and has to try to jam out 3 fights in a year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay, sir. So my last question always is: do you remember the first time you were in a street fight, or the first time you punched somebody out of anger, like in elementary school or a little older, maybe? Do you remember the first time you got in a fight?
First time I got in a fight was my first professional boxing match.
Really?
Yep.
That's
Never been in a fight in my life. Not as a kid, not growing up. Never got in any type of altercation. Never punched anyone in the face. Never got punched in the face until I started boxing 7 years ago.
see, that just goes to show what a good guy you are.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of frustrating when I see when a lot of the guys are calling me out or like you know it because they don't realize that I don't have that much more experience than they do.
Sure.
Like, so it's frustrating when people are like, oh, like I want to see you fight a tougher opponent, and I'm like, dude, I've been fighting for 7 years. Like everyone I'm fighting has double the amount of experience that I have. I'm just fucking smarter.
Awesome. Okay, well, like I said, we love you on the Reddit. You're a great, like a great inspiration to a lot of people. Is there any messages or shout outs or anything you'd like to say before we call it a night?
I'll give this shout out to my new sponsor. We got Adam Total Fitness right here. Really good guy. I trained one of his sons. He's really big into fitness. He used to weigh 300 pounds. Now he's this jacked 40-year-old guy.
Nice.
But big supporter of mine. He owns another company called Safe for Play. He does turfing for residential and commercial. So
Cool.
now he's starting the fitness business. So I'm representing.
Awesome. All right. Well, we look forward to seeing it, and I look forward to talking to you again, man.
Absolutely. Can't wait till the next. Are you going to be at the
I don't.
fight?
So I thought we were gonna have the guy that I cornered was supposed to be on the card, but then they pulled the fight a couple weeks ago. So I
Where are
will
you
not
from?
be at
Or
I'm originally from Colorado, but I live in
Colorado?
Wisconsin now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So
Sweet, man.
cool, man. Well, thanks so much.